My name is Leon Mercer, and I'm 68 years old. I used to design propulsion systems for defense satellites, back when they still needed people like me. Now, I'm the guy who stands quietly at the edge of every family photo, always cut off by someone else's elbow. My son Craig inherited my posture, not my principles. My daughter-in-law calls me Dad with that corporate tone, like she's addressing someone in HR. I don't drink, I don't gamble, I don't forget birthdays. But somehow, I've always been the family's most inconvenient asset. Maybe it's because I remember too much. Maybe it's because I once knew something I wasn't supposed to, and today, in a lounge full of strangers and flickering monitors, I realized they weren't coming back for me. Not because they forgot, because they planned it that way. "You'll be fine here, Grandpa," Jenna said, brushing invisible lint off my shoulder. Her smile was sterile, practiced, the same one she uses when tipping valet boys. "Just wait in the lounge while we check in. We'll come grab you before boarding. Promise." Craig nodded once, eyes on his watch. Not me. They didn't wait for an answer. Cut. I was left with a paper cup of black coffee, lukewarm and bitter, seat 14A printed on my boarding pass. Window view. Hawaiian Airlines, flight 1857 to Honolulu. Departure 1:45 p.m. I checked the time, 9:03 a.m. A woman to my left was breastfeeding under a beige scarf. The man across from me had his AirPods in, lip-syncing to a song I couldn't hear. I sat in between them, still, quiet, small. At 9:45, I tried texting Craig. Nothing. By 10:30, I walked to the flight information kiosk and ran my boarding pass. Beep. Invalid. I ran it again. Beep. Same result. I flagged down a gate agent. Young. Blonde. Glazed expression like she'd already lived this scene 100 times today. She typed something into the terminal, eyebrows twitching upward. "Sir, you're not on the manifest for flight 1857. Did you check in earlier?" "I was told I'd be called after check-in." She glanced at her supervisor. "Sir, I'm sorry. Your name doesn't appear under any group reservation either. Try under Craig Mercer or Jenna Mercer. They're my—" She cut me off gently. They checked in with 2 minors. No third adult. Flight's already boarding. Cut. Silence. Just the chime of an overhead speaker announcing a delayed flight to Boise. My coffee cup trembled slightly in my grip. I wasn't shaking. Just cold. Back in the lounge, my seat still warm. Someone had stolen my spot. I took the one across. Same view. Gate doors, blinking monitors, a fern plant wilting in fluorescent light. I opened my wallet. ID. Medicare card, prescription list, 1 credit card, no room key, no cash withdrawal since Thursday. Still had the receipt from breakfast. Jenna's order, egg whites, no toast, double espresso. She always hated carbs. Hated sincerity, too. People don't forget. They just pretend it's easier that way. My wife said that once, the night she shredded the non-disclosure form Craig made her sign. At noon, I asked for a courtesy call to the number on file. Receptionist dialed, listened, nodded once. "They're unavailable, untraceable." I asked for a supervisor. He looked up the reservation file. "Sir, your family checked in as a party of 4, 2 adults, 2 children, no 5th member. No Leon Mercer." He hesitated. "They used your frequent flyer number, but under a different name. David Mercer, Jr." David. That name hadn't come up since 1987. I didn't say anything. I just walked. 1:42 p.m. Flight 1857 pulled away from the gate. I stood at the tall windows as the plane drifted from view like a mirage vanishing into fog. Something inside me tightened. Not pain, not fear. Release. At 2:05, I tried my boarding pass again. Still invalid. At 3:30, I asked the front desk if there were any cancellations for other flights. The clerk was kind. Young. Looked like she could be my granddaughter. "You okay, sir?" "No." "Can I call someone for you?" "No." By 5, the lounge emptied. The windows turned black. The lights dimmed to save power. At 5:11, I asked one last time. The clerk typed something, then stopped. They checked into the flight. 1:45 p.m. It's already departed. I nodded. No surprise anymore. "I'm sorry." I didn't answer. The restroom was empty. I locked the stall, not to cry, just to breathe. It smelled like bleach and lemon-scented despair. I closed my eyes and let time pass. 10 minutes, maybe 20. When I walked back out, the airport had changed color, blue tones, cooler, less human. I stared at the departure screen like I used to read blueprints, scanning for failures no one else saw. Then I saw it. Portland, 7:35 p.m. One seat left. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe something else. I walked to the counter. One way to Portland, I said. Cut. She looked up. Round trip? No. Pause. I handed her my card. The one Craig didn't know existed. The one I kept after the merger. Quietly. Legally. I'd saved it for an emergency. Apparently being erased by your own blood qualifies. At 6:48, I sat by gate 12. No one noticed me. I peeled off the hoodie Jenna made me wear, stuffed it in the trash. It landed with a dull thud on top of a baby diaper and a half-eaten croissant. No one looked. Good. At 7:41, I was airborne. The city's lights fell away like glitter spilled across black velvet. 8 hours ago, I thought I was going to paradise. Turns out I was just being deleted. But now I was flying towards something real. And whoever orchestrated this, they weren't ready for what I still remembered. They didn't forget me. They erased me. Portland rain hit the terminal roof like loose nails rattling in a tin box. I walked out of the gate with one bag, one name, and no plan. The lights overhead flickered. I kept to the left. People were moving fast, like I was in the way of something more important. The sign above baggage claim said Carousel 3. Mine wasn't there. I scanned every belt. A red Samsonite that looked like mine circled once. Tag said L. Mercer. My fingers twitched. I pulled it down, cracked it open. Not my clothes. Inside, a burner phone, 3 blister packs of unmarked pills, a sealed envelope with my name in block letters. No socks, no razor, no jacket. Just intent. Cut. Footsteps behind me. Then silence. I zipped the case shut, eyes scanning. No one close. Just a janitor pushing a mop across the tiles. He wasn't mopping. He was watching. At the help desk, I gave them my claim ticket. She typed, frowned. This bag isn't logged in our system. What does that mean? Could be a system error or... Her voice lowered. Someone might have swapped it before you got here. Is that common? Only when it's not supposed to be. Cut. I found a bench facing the exit doors. Cold air bled through the glass. The envelope in the bag weighed heavy in my lap. I opened it. Inside, a photo of a motel room, handwritten GPS coordinates, and a single sentence. Do not trust the man wearing your face. My stomach dropped. Someone was watching me. No, tracking me. Someone who knew what flight I took. Someone who knew this bag would find me. Some truths land quietly. Others detonate. The phone vibrated. Unknown number. I answered. No voice. Just breathing. Then, he's already here, Leon. Click. Cut to rental car kiosk. I used my backup card, the one I opened before Craig's wedding. Still worked. The attendant handed me keys to a silver sedan. No questions. I drove. Through the rain. The kind that smears lights into ghosts. At a red light, I checked the GPS from the envelope. Destination blinked on screen. The Shady Pines Motel, 4.3 miles. Headlights appeared in my rearview mirror. Too close. No turn signals, no pass attempt. They followed me for 3 lights. One wrong move, and I'd be done. At the motel, I parked under a dying neon sign. The car behind me kept going. Maybe. Inside, faded carpet, peeling walls, and a desk clerk who didn't ask for ID. I gave him cash. He gave me room 14. The key had duct tape on it. As I turned to leave, he muttered, "You got someone looking for you. You might want to use the back stairs." Not a question. The room smelled like mildew and cheap lemon cleaner. TV on mute. Curtains closed. I locked both bolts and wedged the chair under the handle, laid the bag on the bed, pulled out the phone again, scrolled through recent calls. Nothing. Contacts, one name only. Miles. No last name. No location. I called. "Leon," a low voice answered. "You left. Me a message." Silence. "I didn't think you'd make it this far," he said. "I didn't think I'd have to. You need to listen very carefully. You were never supposed to get on that plane. They built someone else using you. Someone who passed every scan, cleared every checkpoint. Who's they? That depends who you think signed your retirement papers. Cut. Flashback. Craig in my garage 2 years ago. Dad, you ever think about downsizing? Maybe give us power of attorney, just in case anything happens. I said no. He smiled. Said, we'll find a way. Back to now. My pulse raced. Why me? I whispered. You still carry active biometric clearance. Not all your access was shut down after the contract ended. That was decades ago. You think classified systems get erased that easy? Miles paused. They needed a ghost with a clean legacy, a man who could disappear without headlines. And you were already halfway gone. Thunder cracked outside. The TV flickered even though it was unplugged. I reached for the envelope again. Another note I hadn't seen. Tiny print under the flap. If he activates the passcode, your DNA becomes his legal ID. There was a name scribbled underneath. David Mercer Jr. I froze. David. My brother. Dead since 1987. Buried in Arlington. Or so I thought. I stood. Looked out the window. Raindrops blurred the view. And there he was. Across the street. My face. My posture. My limp. Wearing my coat. Smiling. That man in the footage isn't me. But whoever he is, he's wearing my life like a costume. I didn't blink. He stood under the flickering streetlight like a memory made flesh. Same hairline, same tilt in his hip. That smile, the one I hadn't seen in decades, and never expected to again. David Mercer Jr., dead, burned, buried, now breathing. He didn't move, didn't wave, just turned slowly and disappeared around the corner like it was choreographed. Cut. I grabbed the bag, locked the motel door behind me, and followed. Street wet, airtight. My shoes slipped twice on the sidewalk. Every sound stretched long, the buzz of a neon sign, the thud of my footfalls, the hum of some generator behind a closed diner. I turned the corner. Nothing. Gone. Back in the room, I peeled the curtain halfway. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. If David's alive, then everything I've believed for 40 years is staged. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it in my ears. I sat on the edge of the bed, stared at the burner phone, and called Miles again. Voicemail. I left none. Then I tried Harper Lang, a name I hadn't uttered in years. She picked up on the second ring. Leon, you told me if I ever saw something impossible, I'd know who to call. Silence. Then, where are you? Portland, Shady Pines Motel, room 14. I'm 20 minutes out. Stay inside. Don't speak to anyone, not even the version of yourself you think you trust. Click. Cut. 15 minutes later, someone knocked. 3 times. Then 2. Then 1. I opened the door. Elise Brennan. Not Harper. Not a mistake. A deliberate substitution. Tall. Black coat. Tied tight at the waist. Eyes like razors behind rain-spattered glasses. You kept the chip? She asked. I nodded. She walked in without another word. I handed her the bag. She pulled out the envelope. The photo. The GPS. You were supposed to be in Anchorage right now, she said. That's not where I booked. You didn't book anything. Craig did. Under your name. The real destination was never Hawaii. She plugged her drive into the motel's outdated TV. The screen flickered. Static. Then, video footage from yesterday. A man walking through Dulles International. Same limp. Same slouch. Same face. This was recorded 7 hours before your flight left SFO. My mouth was dry. Is that David? No, she said. It's you. According to the Department of Defense. Cut. Elise scrolled through data. Biometric scans, passport approvals, even a TSA body cam showing me clearing pre-check in Florida. Your brother didn't just fake death, Leon. He repurposed yours. What does he want? Her eyes didn't blink. Clearance. She explained. 30 years ago, Project El Seraph was shut down. Publicly. Quietly. Internally. It splintered. One part sold data to foreign interests. One part went underground. One part, it waited, for someone like me, for a clean record, for old clearances that never got fully revoked. I was that blueprint. You ever wonder why your pension stopped adjusting 5 years ago? She asked. I thought it was a clerical delay. It wasn't. You were being phased out. Cut. I felt cold. I stood up. Stared at myself in the bathroom mirror. The glass had a crack running through it, right where my eyes met mine. There's a saying, I told her. The only thing worse than being hunted is realizing you're not even worth hunting. You're just practice. Elise stared back. Then make them regret the rehearsal. The motel lights went out. Total black. I ducked instinctively. Elise reached into her coat, hand on steel. 3 seconds. 4. Lights back on. The burner phone buzzed. New text. Time to trade faces, Leon. I need to see him, I said. Elise nodded. We'll find him, but once you do, you'll have to make a choice. What choice? Which one of you the world remembers? I didn't answer, didn't need to. I already knew the answer. This isn't just about erasing me, it's about replacing me. We left the motel at 3:17 a.m. Elise drove. Rain sliced across the windshield like static. Headlights carved a path through fog that looked too intentional, like someone had dialed up the tension in real time. You ever think maybe we're all ghosts? She said. I didn't answer. She kept her eyes forward. I mean, after a certain age, you stop getting invitations. Your name gets shortened to +1. Your password expires, and no one bothers resetting it. I stopped being someone the moment I became convenient to forget. She nodded. And someone else started wearing your shoes. Gate 9 wasn't marked on any current map of Portland International, but Elise had clearance. The kind that didn't blink. We entered through a service hallway. Unpainted concrete. Pipes dripping. The air buzzed, as if electrified by secrets. She opened a maintenance panel and scanned her card. Door slid sideways with a pneumatic hiss. Inside, a narrow tunnel lined with fiber optic cables. Blue light pulsed like veins under skin. My breath fogged, not from cold, from what was coming. The tunnel ended in a glass observation room. Inside, 6 monitors, 1 keyboard, 1 chair, and a woman. Mid-40s, sharp features, black suit, quiet eyes. She didn't stand. Elise, she said. You brought the original. I stepped forward. Who are you? Elena Ward, NSA. Black Subdivision, Surveillance Integrity. You were tagged for deletion 18 months ago. By who? She turned one monitor toward me. Footage rolled. David, walking through Anchorage Airport. My face, my coat, my limp. Then the twist. He swiped a badge, mine, and entered a level 5 clearance zone used only for nuclear data routing. He was inside for 11 minutes, Elena said, and he took something we can't track. What does he want? Not want. Need. She paused. He's dying. Cut. My mind spun. Dying from what? His body wasn't built to sustain full mimic integration. He's a copy, Leon. Built from tissue taken decades ago. Accelerated aging. Artificial nerve scaffolding. But there's one thing he needs to survive. She looked straight at me. Your spinal fluid. My breath caught. You're telling me my brother came back from the dead so he could harvest me? Elena didn't flinch. He thinks you're already dead, that the family sold you out. Craig and Jenna falsified medical records 6 months ago. You've been listed as under hospice care since June. That's not a clerical error. No, that's paperwork for a corpse. The lights dimmed. Elena tapped another screen. Here's where it gets worse. Footage flickered. Jenna. Meeting with an unidentified man. Public library. Booth 3. She hands him something. The screen freezes. Zoom in. The object in her hand. A blood sample. Labeled L. Mercer. My mouth dried. No one in. My family ever asked for a sample, I said. They didn't have to. They took it during that routine checkup in April. Remember? I did. They paid. Said it was a family plan health update. I didn't even feel the needle. Elena tapped another file. A dossier opened. Code name. Project Cenotaph. Objective. Secure long-term mimic viability via paired genetic sync. Primary target, Leon Mercer. Status active. Authorization, Craig Mercer. I sat down hard. Elise placed a hand on my shoulder. You're not being replaced, Leon. You were sold. The buzzer chirped. Motion detected at gate 9. Camera feed switched to outside hall. A man approaching. Alone. Gray coat. Low cap. He stopped 10 feet from the door. Removed his hat. David. My mirror. 30 pounds lighter. Paler. Hungrier. He looked up at the camera and smiled. Elena froze. Gate 9 is unlisted. No one should know this entrance. David held up a phone. Typed. Elise's burner buzzed. I checked the screen. One message. One seat. One name. One life. Decide. They didn't replace my identity. They replaced me. Elise killed the lights with one tap. Move, she whispered. We slipped out the back of Gate 9 down a utility stairwell that smelled like metal and wet concrete. My heartbeat thudded in my throat. Every footstep echoed like an alarm. She pushed open a side door. Night swallowed us whole. A black sedan waited. Engine running. No headlights. That yours? I asked. It's ours for 15 minutes. That meant stolen or borrowed from someone who'd never report it. Cut. She floored it. Tires screamed on wet pavement. The airport slipped behind us like a fading sentence. Where are we going? I asked. San Jose, she said. Your double bought a seat on the midnight flight. If he gets through pre-check, you're done. He'll become you legally, digitally, biometrically. And me? You'll be a clerical error with a birth certificate no one honors. I stared out the window, my reflection blurred with passing streetlights. There's a saying, I murmured. If someone wants your life badly enough, it means you lived it better than you thought. Elise glanced at me. Make sure you still get to keep it. We hit I-5. Rain hammered the windshield. Wipers worked overtime. A pair of headlights appeared behind us. Too close. Not passing. Elise stiffened. That's the third mile they've held formation. Could be coincidence. There's no coincidence inside an operation this dirty. Cut. The sedan behind us accelerated. Elise jerked the wheel. Our car swerved onto an exit ramp, hydroplaning. She regained control just as the SUV blew past, horn blaring, lights flashing. That wasn't random, she muttered. They want you funneled, not crashed. Why? Because a dead original doesn't help them. They need you alive until transfer. Transfer. That word made my stomach twist. We reached San Jose Airport at 11:28 p.m. Storm still raging. Water pooled across concrete in perfect mirrors. Elise parked near a loading dock. Stay close. We slipped through a maintenance entrance. The hum of generators filled the tunnel, vibrating through my bones. She scanned a badge and opened a service door. Terminal D. Bright, crowded, normal, like the world hadn't tilted. Passengers waited at gate D12. A boarding sign blinked. Flight 698, Anchorage, final call. I saw him immediately. Standing in line, my height, my hands, my posture, my coat. For a moment I couldn't breathe. He turned, saw me, smiled, slow, familiar, like a childhood ghost saying hello after 40 years underground. Cut. I stepped forward. Elise grabbed my arm. Not yet, look. She pointed toward a man near the podium, clean-cut, wired earpiece, eyes scanning the crowd. A second agent near the restroom, a third near the vending machines. That's extraction detail, she whispered. Your brother isn't traveling alone. My brother died in 87. No, she said softly. He evolved. David stepped out of line, walked toward a window. His reflection overlay mine. A perfect match, except the eyes. Mine were tired. His were starving. You can't outrun him, Elise said. He's been training for this moment since Project Cenotaph marked you for removal. He wants clearance, I said. He wants survival, she corrected. Your spinal sequence, the original template, keeps his body from collapsing. And Craig. He traded you to wipe a multi-million-dollar debt created by Jenna. They didn't expect the double to take a personal interest. Personal? Elise exhaled. He said you stole his destiny. Those were his words. The intercom chimed. Final boarding for Flight 698 to Anchorage. The crowd shifted. David stepped toward the gate. Elise pressed something cold into my palm. A USB. Slim. Silver. Marked with a single word. Origin. This is everything, she said. Proof of mimic protocols. Cenotaph's off-books funding. The family signatures. Your brother's file. If you get to TSA override with this, you can shut him down. And if I don't, then he uploads your biometrics on arrival and becomes the only Mercer the system recognizes. David approached TSA pre-check. Slow motion. He handed over a passport. Mine. The officer scanned it. Green light. My knees weakened. Elise, go, she said. Now. Cut. I rushed forward, shoved past two travelers, raincoat, suitcase, muttered curses behind me. "Sir, wait your turn." The TSA officer began. But then David turned. Our eyes locked. Everything else fell away. He whispered something I'll never forget. "You lived my life. Now I'm taking it back." Security tensed. Elise reached for her badge. Someone else reached into a jacket. A gun. A taser. No way to know. Chaos flared. David slid through the security gate in one fluid motion. "If he boards that plane," Elise shouted, "you disappear forever." She wasn't wrong. And he was already halfway down the jet bridge. The storm hit just as the ambulance pulled away. Leon stood soaked in Portland rain, watching the flashing lights vanish down the hill. Nolan had a cracked rib, a concussion, and the worst part, he finally knew who his family really was. Inside the motel room, everything smelled like cheap bleach and scorched coffee. Leon's coat dripped on the tile. His hands were raw from gripping the steering wheel. But he didn't sit. Not yet. He opened the drawer. Inside was the manila folder Nolan had passed him before collapsing. Sealed. No labels. He broke the seal with a thumbnail and pulled the documents out. His breath held. It wasn't just power of attorney. It wasn't just fake signatures on AMC trust transfers. It was everything. Emails between Craig and Nolan detailing liquidation of their father's residual defense stocks. A notarized document removing Leon from the family trust dated 6 months ago. Forged. A photo. Leon's will, the real one, torn in half. Nolan had taken the picture before Craig burned it. And at the bottom, a USB drive. He plugged it into the old laptop Nolan kept stashed in the side drawer. Static filled the screen, then a folder blinked open. Flight path. Inside, audio recordings. Craig's voice. "Get him to the lounge. Stall him. The less paper trail, the better. If he makes it to Hawaii, it's over." Leon clicked to the next file. "He's too smart. That's the problem. I should have cut him off when Mom died. He keeps checking things." Leon clenched his fists. Years of being called paranoid now had a soundtrack. Another recording. This time, Nolan. "You said it was just a delay. I didn't know you were leaving him there, Craig." "You did what you were told. You'll get your piece." Pause. Nolan's voice cracked. "He's still my dad." Silence. Then a soft reply from Craig. "He was never ours to begin with." The screen went black. Leon sat back, shaking. He'd known betrayal, yes, but hearing it, stitched with contempt, hit like a blade twisted. "They only love you while you're useful," he whispered. Outside, a siren wailed and faded. He packed the folder, the laptop, and Nolan's jacket into his bag. Then, without a word, walked outside. The rain had slowed, just missed now. Across the street, the bar where Nolan said they'd met the notary. Leon crossed. Inside, red lights glowed over sticky counters and silent TV screens. He scanned the room. One man at the end. Thin. Nervous. Glass of seltzer in front of him. Untouched. Leon sat down across from him. "You notarized a trust transfer in March," Leon said quietly. "2 witnesses. Both AMC employees. Neither real." The man didn't blink. "I don't know what you're talking." Leon slid the photo of the forged will across the table. The man's hand trembled. "They said you were in hospice," he muttered. "Said this was a dying request." Leon smiled, humorless. "They're right about one thing. I was dying. Just not the way they thought." The man's voice dropped. "They'll come after you." "They already did." A beat. Then, "What are you going to do?" Leon leaned in. "You're going to sign a statement. You're going to come with me to AMC's legal counsel. You're going to say exactly what Craig Mercer ordered you to do. And if I don't..." Leon's eyes went dark. "Then I let you explain it to the Department of Justice." A long pause. Then the man nodded. Cut scene. By the time the press conference aired 2 days later, Craig Mercer had been detained at LAX trying to board a flight to Tokyo. Frozen assets, pending federal charges, class action filings, SEC involvement. AMC stock plunged 18% in an hour. On screen, a reporter summarized Leon's statement. Acted with deliberate malice, exploiting familial bonds for financial gain. Leon didn't watch the news. He was in a quiet cafe near the courthouse, sipping lukewarm tea. Nolan, arm in a sling, sat across from him. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Leon asked. "I was scared," Nolan said. But not of Craig. I was scared I became him. Leon sighed. The apple can fall, but it doesn't have to rot. They sat in silence. Then Nolan slid a small box across the table. What's this? Leon asked. Found it in Craig's desk. Your old key. Storage locker in Beaverton. He kept it hidden. Leon opened it slowly. Inside, the brass key. The number etched in fading red. 1439D. He looked up. What's in there? Nolan shrugged. Whatever he didn't want you to find. Leon smiled faintly. The truth always leaks. Just takes the right crack. 1 week later, Leon stood in front of the storage unit, the sun harsh against concrete. He turned the key. The door rolled up, and inside, waiting quietly under a tarp, was a briefcase. Leather, familiar. He opened it. Inside, paper ledgers, printouts, cash bundles. But more than that, blueprints, prototypes. His old work, defense tech once thought lost in a warehouse fire, all preserved. Craig hadn't destroyed them. He'd hidden them. Leveraged them. And Leon? Leon took out his phone, dialed the number of a defense agency contact he hadn't spoken to in years. Yes, it's me, he said. I have something you'll want to see. Pause. No, I'm not dead. I just stopped letting people bury me alive. Some families inherit houses. Others inherit secrets. Leon Mercer had lived long enough to know which ones were worth keeping and which ones were finally worth burning.